city from a macro perspective. And from a macro perspective, you're looking at what does sustainability mean to you? And we kind of focused it all the way to the micro, meaning to the one detail part. And when we selected the one detail part, most of us selected to start building from a school or a park. And that was really awesome when we started to share all of our ideas for what would a school look like. And we had these great ideas. Number one, we all had a communal space, and we love to have plants in that space. So everyone had that idea. And then the next thing that was really fascinating was we all believed there shouldn't be grade differences. We believed third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders should all be able to work on a project together. So that was also really interesting. Now, when we started to draw our ideas, there were many different shapes and forms, and you can check out the Strawbees page as well. I think Lindsay posted a fantastic drawing of what she was describing, which is this tower with a really open space in the middle, but there's like a pathway that curves around. And that pathway is more like an adventure. So every time you're kind of moving on to the next project, you'd be going up that ladder in a sense, right? And that's pretty cool. So those were some of the recaps that really were awesome. And please check it out on the Strawberry page as well. Now, today is going to be mostly building upon what we were discussing last time. So it's going to be focusing on the build section. So please get your Strawbees and straws ready. Now, when you're building, you can focus on the micro, as in that one building that you wanted to complete, for example, the school, or you could focus more on the landscape and think about 2-3 buildings that you wanted to kind of build out today, and then kind of place them so that it's like a very, very easy way for you to understand what that might look like if you had a school and a home and a post office, or if you have a straight line in a school and post office. So, and how would that commute look like for you guys? So that's going to be the main focus today, which is building. We have total about 35 minutes of building time. And during these building times, we would love to see you guys build with us as well. Even if you guys are a little bit camera shy, just have your camera open and point it to your fingers while you're building, like so. This would be beautiful as well. We would love to see your fingers building some Strawbees with us together and be able to comment and be able to comment on what you're doing as well. Now, as I mentioned, today I'll be building with these amazing OG Strawbees, the original forms. These are from the Kickstarters, and I really do enjoy these because it brings me back to the 2013 world where we're able to recycle and upcycle. And as we're talking about sustainability, I want to bring these out because this is a fantastic way to think about sustainability, right? How can we create other Strawberry pieces from materials around the house? Cool, awesome guys. Now, please let me know if you guys think the music is too loud or if it's okay for you guys. This is gonna be background music for us to build with. It is very joyful and cheerful. Now, this is also something I can share with you guys as well if you guys want the files. Great, so we are going to start it off. So go ahead, Lindsay, please let us know what is your first instruction for our next build.
Yes, thank you, James. So I want to kind of recap more on what I was building. So last week we kind of discussed like focusing on single buildings. And actually what was very interesting was many of us being educators wanted to do school. We wanted to look at redesigning school, which I thought was a very interesting, but also completely makes sense why we would want to redesign school. So last week I took the time to draw this very simple design. And just to recap on it, I was trying to create a school setting where it was like a lot more communal, and also it captured in a way that was very accessible. So instead of just walking downstairs, tried to make the journey of walking through school very interesting, but also even looking at that on the inside of the school here, that if you were to go inside, you can look down from the top, you would see what was happening in the school. So it would be kind of like classrooms that you would walk through. So you can like walk from the top. So it's like grade 6, maybe grade 5, or maybe it's kindergarten at top and then 6th graders. So that way you can kind of, look at like different grades, but it's also a way for each different grade of children to, collaborate or interact with each other instead of separating them into only 6th graders or only 5th graders. So it could be like a really interesting way to review school between the students. But also what I wanted to really focus on was trying to make a lot of communal spaces. So from the inside of the school here, from the inside of the school here, I was trying to make it so you can actually look on the inside, so that the school is actually kind of like, think of like a cylinder that's hollow on the inside. And that way at the bottom of the cylinder, there's kind of like a stage, or there's some sort of interesting atmosphere. So then I wanted to kind of, build on my idea a little bit more. So I made a drawing that kind of replicates this a little bit more. So I was trying to really imagine what the building looks like. So here's kind of my redesigned school space, and I even added like a garden with trees on the top, so that way you can kind of look up, from the bottom of the cylinder in awe of the trees, and maybe feel like that you're immersed in forest, but also looking at like the different shapes. So I kind of made a very hexagon pattern. And then, so what I made over time, here's my first prototype, is using that hexagon shape and kind of starting to build the roof here. You can see that I was just trying to build like the basic structure. So what I'm going to show you is like last week we focused on creating a stacking tower, which basically thinking about geometry, where you have like the 5 platonic solids like cubes, pyramids, which is also known as tetrahedrons, trying to kind of break down your project based off these different shapes. So, what I want to show you is how you can make something like the cube, which is in the video that we provided in the resources, and transforming it into a prism. So maybe transforming it from a square into something that is a hexagon. So I'm going to roll on down here. So what I would need to do is that with a hexagon, I'm going to want about 6 corners. So I have currently 4. So the nice thing about Strawbees is that I can just pop it apart, and I can kind of open up the cube. And then you can see how I can start to build the hexagonal prism. So all I need to do is to grab a few Strawbees. And for the sake of showing in the camera, I am using very small straws. So these straws are about 4 centimeters long. So I cut the straws to about 4 centimeters and made a set of 4 centimeter straws as yellow. So what I'm going to do now is just add straws. And also a thing we covered last week is that, it's really good that if you pre-bend the legs of the Strawbees before getting started, because that allows you to make nice sharper corners. Because when the Strawbees tend to be really round, they kind of like bubble, it kind of becomes very round of a corner. And for something like a cube, you may want to make it much bigger, or you might want to make it much more pointy. So, just trying to add, like pre-bend the Strawbees like this. And then just start to open up the cube so I can continue to expand it, adding in straws in the process. So now I even have my pentagon prism, but I'm going to add one more set. In a way, it feels like I'm kind of weaving. I'm kind of expanding and opening the shape and using it to like kind of a weaving motion of just building it up and making it grow. A few more straws, and then I will finish my basic prism. And there I transformed a cube into a hexagonal prism. So this could be another way that you stack. So we have like the cubes that you can stack, but you can also look at modifying and maybe adding a combination of a tetrahedron, like a pyramid shape, or even add cubes and stack it. You can even use it to redesign the base. So maybe if it doesn't fit perfectly, that's okay. As long as you find it, to your liking. Because the point of Strawbees is not to necessarily make beautiful, perfect things, but to use it as a way to build and prototype and expand your ideas. So this is a way that you can actually start to build these geometric structures and start to take shape. So of course, I used 4 centimeter long straws that I pre-cut ahead of time. And this one with the orange straws is about 6 centimeters. And then I even made an even bigger tower using 12 centimeter straws. So my pink straws are 12 centimeters, the orange one about 6, and the yellow one is made with 4 centimeter straws. Yeah. So now I'll just give you a little bit of time to free build. James, what do you think? What's kind of your building? Like, what are you building right now?
Awesome. So actually going to do a little blueprint. So what I mean by that is we all have a similar idea. We all love pentagons for some reason. So I'm actually going to do a 2D first. And as I'm building the 2D, I'm just going to build upon that and then trying to layer it. So it won't be the same, but let's just start building and I'll kind of comment as we're building. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create the structure around. And what I mean by the structure around is basically linking 2 strawbee heads together. So like so. Now 2 strawbee heads together first like that. And I'm going to go ahead and tie it at the end here as well. Now this is going to give me a great angle. Now the reason I'm doing that first is because I want to be flexible with my angles, right? So I'm thinking of a pentagon, but maybe it'll turn into like a perfect circle by the time I'm done. Or maybe at one part, it's going to have like an egg shape, or I'm not sure yet. So the reason why I'm going to start with this first is because it has more flexibility. So what I'm going to do is actually build 5 or 6 of these first and start joining them together. And so I'm going to do that. And you guys can start building as well. And when we're doing this, we can kind of go ahead and see what it's going to start looking like. Now I'm going to also cut up some of my straws so we can start building them together at the same time and put them together. Now I would love to also hear what you guys are doing, how you guys are building, what you guys are thinking about. If you want to start with 2D or 3D. And if you guys are working on the schools or if you're working on something else. So these are see-through straws, but what I'm going to do is basically start connecting them through here, like so. Oh, very nice. Okay, so you can see these are 3 of them connected. I'm going to stick a blue one in here, like so. Okay, so if I were to add one more here, then it would be my pentagon shape. But what if I wanted to create a different angle? Let's say I wanted to be a little bit more creative with this last one. I'm going to change the straw size here and put this one up. I'm going to increase this one as well. Okay, very interesting. Oh, very interesting. So what I actually like to do is to first play around like this. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to visualize what would it be like if I were to change it around at different angles. I was thinking of a pentagon, but I don't want to be a perfect pentagon, right? So maybe my school is more of like an egg shape like this, but it's inspired by the pentagon. If that's what I like to build upon, I kind of look at it and visualize it first. And once I've decided, yes, this is how I want to build, then I start building more of a 3D version. So let's start that process now as well. Now, while we're building, I would love to know more about what you guys are building and how you guys are building. If you guys have any ideas that you would like to share with us, we would love to know. I'm gonna plug this up. All right, let me.
Will your shape move?
Yes. So
Interesting.
it's going to be the base of it first. So I'm thinking about the base. I'm thinking of what size, what to Yes, and as I'm doing this, I can kind of visualize more, and I can tweak the straws. So if I want it to be the exact same here, I just cut the straw. I'm gonna get this one perfect.
I can kind of foresee what you're building, where the shape of the structure of the building can always expand. So maybe if you have like a very large crowd one day, it could suddenly open up the room even more, or it can kind of
That'd be cool.
compress, maybe for even insulating,
Yeah,
like better insulation of heat, so you don't have so much space to
that's
heat.
actually a really good idea. That's a really good idea. A building that can actually change forms. Wow, that'd be quite a school indeed. So the reason why I like to have these first, I kind of like to bend around and see and change the straw length and see what I like to work with as a base, right? And so right now I'm leaning more towards like this house / egg-shaped pentagon. So this is the one thing I would think I'm gonna go for. Now, as I'm going from here to the next step, what I'm gonna do is build another layer and start building on top. And Lindsay, what are you building?
Well, so I'm actually still thinking about the next step, because I already pre-built a big portion of my building.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
one thing I was trying to think about was trying to redesign the top of my school. So like a way to maybe even have the garden. So I was thinking about either putting green paper, taping paper to it, plastic, or even just making trees. And I think that might be enough of a representation.
Awesome. Ooh, I would love to see a Strawbees tree. That'd be awesome. So speaking of which, I actually started to build a little bit earlier. And once I decided, so the first step for me was doing that. And then once I decided this is the shape I wanted to do, I actually started to build something within that shape. And I'll show you guys right now, actually. All right, let me get this one. So I'm going to change the angle here. Now, this bottom is the original egg shape. That was inspired by that. Now, what happened here is basically what I was thinking about the first class is level 1 of the school is going to be an open area with the middle part, which is here, which is being completely open for sunlight and gardening. Now, if this is the first level, what I'm thinking about is what would the second level look like? Would it expand out or go inwards? So this is what I'm actually contemplating next. And the reason why I have this kind of at an angle is I wanted to have this idea where you enter in from here, where you enter in the school and you kind of go on a slide. It's like the first thing you do when you enter in a school is have a fun slide experience. You get to like slide into school. Once you slide into school, this would be a pretty long slide actually if it was an actual slide. So once you slide into school, the idea is to be able to start off with putting your stuff where it needs to be, entering your classrooms, and kind of going upwards from there. And as you're going upward, you're finding the projects that you're going to be completing throughout the day. So this is how I would describe that build, and let's build upon it a little bit more now. All right, so what I'm gonna do is think about the next layer. Oh, nice tree. Oh, I'm loving the tree, Lindsay.
Yeah, so I just used basically Strawbees. So the school kit Strawbees, I really like using the colors of the connectors alone, where even I think they have a potential to be part of the structure. So not just using only the straws, but even just building with only connectors. I like the way that you can bend them and flex them, and they kind of have a little bit of like an organic look. But this looks more like a palm tree. So maybe my school is starting to be, you know, maybe the location is based in a more tropical area. But kind of a simple way to build a tree. So I just use the connectors and stick as many as I can. Apparently you can stick like easily 10 connectors on a single strawbee leg.
Oh, wow. I have actually never done that, but we'll definitely try one day. All right. Oh, very interesting. Okay, what is everyone else building on right now? We would love to know what you guys are working on or what ideas you have for your build. We're also building with you live.
I see Christine is working on the inner walls of her school, and they're made of glass.
Oh,
The
nice.
garden will be within the interior, and the rooms will extend outside. Yeah, I like the idea of naturally incorporating a garden inside, or design the school building with trees and organic life.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm just reading the comments now. Inner walls, yes. Garden interiors, yeah, I love that. And Sam, the longer the slide, the better. Okay then, duly noted. Let's change the length of the straws then. Let me go full length for you.
When I was like designing my
I'm
school, I was thinking of
Yes.
this as more of like an accessibility ramp. But now I'm thinking maybe special days you are allowed to rollerblade, or maybe you can
Oh,
take a cart
nice.
down. Maybe special, or it could even be a water slide some days.
I love it. So all of a sudden we've entered the slide zone where everyone's gonna be sliding around school. That is
I think
so
everyone's
awesome.
thinking of it. We've all wanted it before. Why not build it?
I know I have. All right, let's make this as long as possible and see what the slide would look like. Go ahead and make this blue for you, Sam. I'm gonna use a blue slide. Okay, so Sam, we have extended our slide to more of a hazardous angle now with it being so long, but at least we know what how much fun that's going to bring for the kids. This would be probably like the basement level if this is how they would enter now. Well, that's quite an interesting idea. Cool. All right, so I'm definitely gonna have to even this out because that's not gonna work right now. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So oftentimes when I'm building with Strawbees, this is what happens, right? So from one idea of a longer slide to all of a sudden it be connected to the very top, and now it's completely changed forms. And that's the fun part about Strawbees. As you're changing forms, you ask yourself, wow, what would it be like? And when you start asking yourself these questions, what would it be like? You start filling in that imagination part. Maybe, oh, very interesting. Maybe this is how it's going to build upwards. Maybe I can have two of these put together now. And then sometimes I like to flip my structures upside down in the building sessions and just wonder, what is it like in this angle? I'll kind of show you guys. Oh, interesting. That actually works pretty well too. Oh, awesome. And we have a great poll right now. We'd love for you guys to let us know. How are you feeling today? 1 to 3, a little bit sleepy. 4 to 6, pretty good, but still need a coffee. 7 to 10, excited, building with us already. And number 10, you're gonna turn on your video and start dancing for us. That's awesome. And of course, fill in the other part too. Need more ideas on how to start. Or, I'm not quite there yet, but the journey is good. And number 3, struggling on the building part. So when you're answering question number 2, how is your building coming along? go ahead and just click one of those so we have a pretty good idea. And yes, I completely agree, Sam. We want the kids to come into school with as much fun as possible, as much excitement as possible. That I 100% agree. All right, thank you guys for your feedback. We can go ahead and share the poll. And go ahead and share this with everyone. All right, sharing the results. So everyone's pretty excited, ready to build, already building with us. And how's your building coming along? Not quite there yet, but the journey's good. I love that. Now, as Cindy and Lindsay and I have been doing some pre-builds. So of course our buildings are going to be more in shape. But again, when you're building, free flow for a little bit and understand what direction you want to head in. Maybe if you don't have a concrete idea, it's a good idea to just start with something and just play along with it. Now, actually, when I'm looking at my new school that has been reinvented through Sam's idea of a longer slide, I'm thinking now, I actually like this a lot more. I'm actually thinking this is like a baseball cap now, and I can actually build upon this in a different way. Not only does it look like a baseball cap from this angle, it actually looks like a space shuttle. So now I'm thinking, this is quite an interesting school if it only focused on, let's say, engineering, building space shuttles. Now, all of a sudden, I feel like taking that idea to the next level, and how we would do that is reimagining if this was a school that was based on a space shuttle, what would I need next? And sometimes free flow building is like that, where you just build, and all of a sudden you have an awesome inspiration. It always helps to have some music, right, Sam? And I'll definitely send you guys this music file. So these are the royalty-free music that you guys can use anytime. Ooh, very interesting. I'm gonna link this together as well. Ooh, I want to show you guys something really cool. So do you see how, like, when I'm pinching this, the whole structure starts to bend a little bit? And as it's starting to bend, I can get this cool tail to wiggle. Now, all of a sudden, just me pinching these together, it has this wiggling effect. And all of a sudden, I'm more intrigued with this. So I'm just going to build upon that idea even more by connecting these two and being able to press down upon it. So let's do that.
It really kind of reminds me of an animal, like an insect or something living.
Yeah,
like
it has,
has to, it's like always modifying or morphing. Like that's why I think of an insect,
Yes.
like a butterfly chrysalis.
Yes, I'm loving this. This is actually the best part about building with Strawbees. Endless possibilities.
Yes.
Nothing is predetermined or defined. It's really up to you. So this is a perfect example of how one idea on a structure can completely transform. And as it's transforming, you can really get inspiration along the way. I'm going to change these up a little bit so that when I connect it, it's going to be at a perfect angle.
Let's take a look at my tree that I started to create here. So I actually really like to add paper with Strawbees. I think cardboard is also very natural, but I mean, paper I like to use kind of like the straw, like the color especially. So all I did here was just poke a few holes and made some slots for the Strawbee connector to go through. And then I just assembled the tree design like this, and then just kind of held it in place. It's a little stiff of a tree, like a little too futuristic looking. So maybe I might want to like crumple it or I don't know, like snip it Because I don't think trees should be this stiff. This is a little
There you
too
go.
not tree-like.
That's funny. Not tree-like.
Yeah, that's better. Just bending it and giving it a little bit of texture,
Oh, that's beautiful.
a little bit of contrast contour. And start to add on top of my building. Yeah, that looks much better now. Definitely much better. Almost looks like
Oh, beautiful.
a getaway.
Beautiful. Very interesting. So now as this shape is a little bit transformed, going back to this idea of a school and having this as a really cool antenna reaching out. Hi. Now I know in the next couple of minutes we're going to open up for some sharing as well as some questions. And then a couple more minutes of free building, then we have a final exercise of going through what a citizen story is and how that could impact your build. Oh.
So I want to share another technique if anyone's interested in combining strawberries with cardboard. So this hexagon prism that I made earlier, I think I want to actually have it so it's a little bit more straight and has some structure so I can kind of piece it together somehow with my school. I'm actually thinking about making it so when I leave the ramp, either exiting or entering the school, I kind of want to actually start with this main building. So maybe this is like a gazebo of some sort. So a technique that we like to do is when you want to add strawbees to cardboard, we have this this hole punch. It has actually two punches on it. It has a rounded punch for hole, like for round holes, and we have another flat punch that's like meant for slots. So if you wanted to basically put it into the cardboard, you can just push it as is. But there's also another tool that we like to use where you can use it as like a punch holder. So that way you're not poking holes into your hands, but you use this as a tool to carefully and safely catch the punch hole. And also what's really nice is that it gives you kind of a flat surface on the cardboard to punch against, because sometimes when you're holding it in your hands or in the air, it might crinkle and wrinkle the cardboard. So that's why we kind of created this punch holder. And of course we put a strawbee on it because it makes it easy so you can like punch multiple holes and constantly hold the holder without actually, using, a full hand to hold it. So you actually are pretty fluid in your cardboard punching. So this punch tool, we actually have the 3D print of, which I will post very shortly in the resources. So you could just poke holes into your favorite, shape of cardboard here. And I'm just gonna poke like maybe 2 holes. But in fact, maybe if I wanna measure it, what I like to do is to maybe make one single pilot hole here and figure out where I'm going to put the first strawbee connector in. So a technique to add strawbees is you can basically push it through one of the holes of the connectors, and then you can stick it through. But what is really nice is that sometimes when you create a structure, it might end up pulling and ripping on the hole. So what's really nice is that we actually like to add another strawbee, kind of like acting like a washer, so that way you don't tear the cardboard. So you can just slide it in on the leg and then just push it through, acting as a washer. But now it starts to hold in place. So then I can kind of figure out where the next set of holes are going to be. So what I like to do is to take a pen or a pencil and even poke, like just draw a line, or draw a dot through it. that and just kind of hold it in place, multiple locations. And then now I can just safely punch the holes. While I'll do that, James, what are you creating now?
I just wanted to go back to my original school now. So I've shortened this slide into a tiny little slide for safety reasons. And as we're building upon it, I'm actually creating the top part. I liked how you demonstrated the tree earlier. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, but also build structures on top that could resemble more like nature. So what I'm doing now is actually creating basically a garden on top. So basically here is going to be the white area where I'm going to draw in with my marker later a little bit of green. So it's going to be like a grassland. And I'm going to have a couple of these on the top of the roof. And here, I'm just going to stick this on here. This is going to be resembling my garden space as well. So I'm going to have multiple garden spaces throughout, but this is going to be like a floating garden. So I'm just going to connect another one here. Oh, very interesting. And I'm also curious, like, since it's already a little bit slanted, what would it be like for a school to have a garden that's purposely slanted a little bit so that all the water can collect to one area, drain out, and continue down its way, instead of always having a flat surface like this? So I'm gonna build this last one, number 3. Perfect. And how's everyone else's builds so far? Have you guys gotten some progress today? And were you able to try any of the techniques that Lindsay and I showed you? All right, very interesting. Oh, I love how you have so many of those hole punched on the cardboard. That's awesome. So many possibilities ready to go anytime. I love that,
Yeah.
Lindsay. That's great.
I think it was this is like some cardboard I was going to use in a different project where I was going to poke multiple holes, but I decided to scrap that project. It's going to be, I think, part of a solar panel series. So I was trying to actually measure with the holes alone so that I can figure out which size of straws that I was going to implement between the holes. So if I wanted really small ones or a mix of large ones. So I was just trying to create a grid system for it. But now it's going to be the beginning of my school, like kind of like some sort of entryway, or maybe it's a sign-in welcome center. Not sure yet.
Oh, I love it. The sign-in welcome center. That's a cool idea. All right, I'm going to put this one together. So I'm just working on my top platform now. I'm just thinking about building on the top right now and how to connect those pieces together. So as you can tell, Lindsay and I have 2 different building styles today. Mine's more of a free flow, going from one idea to the next and being able to see what comes about. And Lindsay has a pre-drawn kind of idea of what the school could look like, and she's following that path very well. Both work and both are just fine. what's most important is the whole building process. How you're able to get the inspiration as well as finish your build. And when you're finished with your build, be proud of it.
Mm-hmm. I think for me also, I really love drawing, so I find any excuse to draw, to be quite honest. So I think that is like naturally part of my process where drawing is kind of like my way of like the literal form of sketching for me. But you know, Strawbees
Awesome.
is actually a really good way of sketching. You know, like in the real world. So if you have an idea, you're kind of like 3D modeling it. It's almost like you're using Strawbees like a 3D printer. A much faster 3D printer, of course. So you're like building these shapes. Like sometimes when you build a hexagon, like, you know, a 2D shape, you can kind of extrude it. So you can make 2 of the hexagons and, you know, expand it like what I was creating here with the straws in between the 2 hexagon shapes. And I think, Sam, you're also a big, you like to draw too. I noticed, yeah, you said in the chat that you like to use pastels. I remember you made a nice drawing about cats and I think LEDs, right?
That's right. Yeah. I put the LEDs behind the canvas and had them go off at different time intervals. So it looked really nice with the pastels, the bright colors, and then the lights of different colors as well. Any excuse to use LEDs and pastels.
I love that. LEDs and pastels. That'd be a cool nighttime build. Awesome. Very interesting.
So I got a question about the cardboard tools that I was using, that we have them 3D printed, but of course, if you're interested in purchasing them, we have a school kit. It's a cardboard school kit that has a set of 10 of the punches and a set of the hole catches. The whole, oh goodness, I keep wanting to say hole puncher, but you know, the hole punch and the tool to catch the punch. So you can actually buy that in that school kit, or you can use the 3D printed file that I'm going to be posting very shortly in the resources.
Awesome. That's definitely a super handy tool. And building with cardboard is really fun in general. You can actually really build outwards as well with cardboard, something that I really enjoyed. The first time I built a cardboard structure was actually a robotic structure. And we were able to build the base with cardboard first, and then building the arms with Strawbees. It was actually a great project. Did that. Cool. Wow, this is quite interesting now. So the structure is a little bit more difficult to see because I used mostly plastic straws. But now we have 3 layers. Oh, very interesting. Awesome. This is pretty fun. You know, building with Strawbees is also very calming and relaxing, especially after a full day. So we highly suggest building with your kids right after dinner. Go ahead and have some fun building. It's a great relaxation. And while you're building, you can have some great conversations as well.
I think with the city building that you can do, it's kind of a natural collaborative project. Like it's a very yes and, like here I have my school, which has like a slide, has a kind of a park on the top, but I can actually foresee all of us kind of combining our schools into like one really amazing district. So there's like many opportunities to learn in even a different school. I think that's a really nice thing that can happen. Like even remotely, we can even create a city remotely.
Definitely. So there's one more thing that we wanted to share with you guys today. Let me post a link. It's actually an awesome site that Lindsay found. It's called www.storycity.land. And basically, this is a combination or a collaboration effort for everyone who use the hashtag StoryCity. And what they do is post all of these stories together of people building their own cities. Now, when you go on there, you're going to see a couple of different ways. Some people have narratives. So what I mean by that is they follow a particular citizen throughout their city and they just tell us what they're doing every single day. But other times we have a full build scale, like a whole city that's coming to life. And you can see Lindsay's project on there as well. Now, what we want to describe is when you're starting to think about what would it be like to enter in the city, what would it be like to go to this school, one of the things you can do is create a character, create a personality, and pretend they are actually going to this school. What would it be like for them to enter in? Or pretend they're living in the city. What would it be like for them to interact within the city every single day? Who would their best friends be? What structure would they live in? What school would they be going to? And when you start asking these questions, it can really fill in the details of Build Your City. And it's a great project. It's really, really fun. So that's something that Lindsay can also share with us a little bit more about as well.
Yeah, so with thinking about the citizens that are in your city, or maybe even just in your building, like what is their story? So like what's a way that you can have these different citizens interact with each other? So if you think about a school, for example, maybe someone else is creating, a play structure like a playground, or maybe a new way to look at residential homes in a more interactive way, maybe more communal way. So what are ways that a citizen in this building, a separate building made by another student, would interact with the citizens in your building? So it could be that maybe there's even one citizen that goes between multiple buildings, so that it could be someone's commute, it could be somebody's commute for work, going to school, it could be a family, things that they really love to do. So really zooming in on the micro of the citizens. So also thinking about how you can build the citizens. So you can also use Strawbees as kind of like a really simple way to create a character, just using the connectors or using pipe cleaners. My favorite was actually using Lego, because I think Lego is is a tool that a lot of us already have. And of course, like the minifigures, you can even recreate yourself. So it's a way that you can focus on animating the characters. So even zooming in on where they are in the city throughout the day, and even taking pictures, so doing photo documentation, and even collecting that as one story. So the story of somebody's typical day, going to school, going to the grocery store, maybe even something even different, someone that likes to travel, or someone that likes to plant trees, even focusing on their hobbies. So there are a lot of ideas in the link that James shared. Storycity.land.com is a great website that has a lot of resources and tools to talk and really zoom in on the citizens in your city.
Awesome. Thank you again, Lindsay. So to wrap up, everyone, we would love to know, how was today's session for you guys? Did you guys get any inspiration while we were building together? And what kind of builds did you guys complete within the hour? We also would love to know how much time to allocate for you guys to build, especially when you're free building. Sometimes it does take longer than expected. Mm-hmm. So do let us know while we wrap up. We have about 5-10 minutes left with you guys, and then we'll see you guys next week for another awesome build session. Oh yes, Christine, yes. Pipe cleaners and beads to make people and animals. I love that. And you can place them around the cities too. It's a fantastic idea.
I have a small pipe cleaner citizen here, actually, that I just happen to have nearby. It's a really nice way to make citizens that, especially for all working remotely from home or learning from home, that you can actually, try to make citizens with just pipe cleaners. Like, it's a nice sculpting tool. But, Lego figures or even small dolls, like maybe part of a Polly Pocket set. There's a lot of different toys out there that are small, like especially even collections of toys that could become the citizens. But pipe cleaners is a really nice one to use as well. I actually probably would next time draw like a face inside, adding beads, just like Christine mentioned, just to add a little bit of depth, like maybe clothes or a little bit of style.
I love it.
Yeah, that's right. So Sam mentioned that there's a new kit that'll have pipe cleaners. So there is a upcoming Sam Labs and Strawbees collaboration that also includes pipe cleaners and a lot of common craft and art materials. So you can actually start to implement these ideas starting with that kit.
Nice. We're definitely going to check this out as well. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, Christine, I see that you posted an album of little people. It's the little people.
This is a good link. I love it, Christine. This is a great link. Most of them are actually made from pipe cleaners. I can see most of them. Straws, nice. Awesome.
I think that's actually it's a really good idea of using the beads. So using the bead, like the big, large wooden beads, and drawing on it with marker to make the heads and the hands. I actually I didn't even think of that before, but I think that's a fantastic idea.
It's also really nice to see a combination of materials, pipe cleaners, as well as some cloth, as well as some straws, all put together. I think that's fantastic as well. Awesome. So the last thing I'm going to do for you guys is send you the link for where I got the audio for today. You guys can download for free and use them anytime when you are doing your builds.
There's actually even Spotify lists that are dedicated for this purpose, for distance learning. I believe that Stanford released one. I think it was a playlist that was created by Stanford students to encourage more peaceful, creative learning experiences.
Awesome.
We'll share that in the link. We'll share that in the resources as well.
Awesome. And Lindsay, can you share your last build that you have in front of you? This looks awesome.
So this is what I did for part of my free build today. So this is one of the students. It's a pretty large student. They've had a major growth spurt compared to the size of the building, but they're very excited as they're wiggling on top of the cardboard here. And on my space here, I think I decided to make it kind of like a welcome center. So if you're about to enter the school, it's a way that you can, maybe check in with the administration to know where the students are, as well as a way to know where the nurse's office is, basically the basic necessities. And I added a satellite dish so the school can also have better internet reception, especially during the distance learning. So right now my school is equipped for distance learning experiences and webinars. And then I created this here as a way to collect water. So that way we can encourage more water collection naturally through rainwater onto the garden on top of the school. That's what I created today.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. We would love to see your build as well. Anyone who is willing to share with us.
Steve, you have a quick question.
Yes. Is it possible to get a list of all these links in one document? Because we can't cut and paste. We actually have to click the link and go to the website. Is it possible to get a document?
Yes. So we will post a document after. Usually I put it in the Strawbees Educators Facebook group, and I try to put it in the emails as well. Thanks. Would that work for you?
Excellent.
Yeah, excellent question. So we are reaching the end of today's session. So part 2, we are sadly out of time. So we're really excited to see what you are creating. So feel free to share in the Strawbees Educators group or send me an email, lindsay@strawbees.com, and share some of your projects that way. We'd love to see what you're creating throughout the process, and especially, in increments. So anything made in part 1 or part 2, or even at the end. But of course, we're really curious because we believe in process over product. So thank you for tuning in to part 2 today. And we will be recording this session. So we'll be posting it on the Strawbees Educators Facebook group, as well as our YouTube channel. So that way you can tune in, and in case if you miss a part, that you can always check back to the parts that are recorded and catch up. James, how are you doing?
Awesome. Fantastic. So again, thank you guys for joining us. I am super curious what you guys are building. So I am looking forward to you guys posting some pictures of your builds today, the free builds. And of course, we're going to continue on. You're going to have 2 more weeks of building with us based on sustainability. Now, next week is also going to be more of a buildings session. We're going to have Lindsay mostly bring out some more tips and tricks. And from there, we're going to wrap it up with week 4. And we really hope you guys have an ability to share with us so that we have more feedback and understanding of how to provide better resources for you guys for this project. Awesome. Actually loved our session today. And we actually loved the music building peacefully with all of you. It is quite relaxing. So here in Taiwan, it is 10 p.m. It is the perfect way to end my night. So thank you guys again so much. Highly enjoyed our session. Looking forward to next week. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in, Lindsay, Sam, Christine, Tiffany.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Until next time, and see you next week.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.